I know I've been doing a series of history videos. This is off from the history videos. This is more or less to face some issues we got to address, like now. What we're looking at right now with what's going on, we all know since the past election what's been taking place here in our nation, and the many realities we seem to be not really paying much attention to that we should be paying attention to. Today we've seen the news about the Supreme Court rejects U.S. Rep. Mike Kelly's election appeal. He calls ruling astounding. And this is true. The problem is that we have in this country right now we're facing is a long train of abuses and treason. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to show you evidence of fact to why we're in the situation we're in. I'm going to explain to you something real quick. The reason we're in the situation we're in right now is because government, from the federal level of the highest up to near the president, down to the state level, the county level, the local city level, town level, is all complicit in the corruption across this nation and has been now for the last 2 decades. To an extreme that many of those involved know the level of treason and that they would probably be hung or shot by a firing squad for the acts of treason because they're responsible and accountable for thousands of Americans being killed right here on our own home ground, and they know it. And their complicitness in this was out of greed, ignorance, and just maybe complicity in a total attempt to want to destroy this nation. And it mainly all focuses at the Democratic Party, but as well the Republicans. There's complicity among Republicans and Democrats in this. The Republicans, for the majority right now in this country, are freaking worthless cowards. Really, it's disgraceful what we have representing the Republican Party right now as far as our government, because they're worthless cowards. Outside of the few that we have in a minority of, thank God, like we have here in Florida with Ron DeSantis, somebody with some balls to stand up to the idiocy, and people like Trey Gowdy, who for years now, for decades, has been raising the issues of what I'm going to raise right now. But he's been raising that as a minority that gets ignored and condemned. And he faces the backlash from that of the people complicit in it, and the treason. And it's just disgraceful what we see going on in this country, in the state we're in right now. Because right now, in truth, we're a banana republic. We're not even truly America anymore. And until the American people take their place and rise up and do something to change that, we're on a decline to fail, people. We're on a decline to fail and be in position for that of takeover by that of a foreign enemy, sooner or later, who is going to attack this nation, sooner or later, because of the vulnerability we're showing right now and our own inability to protect ourselves as the American people and protect our own republic against a tyrannical government. But we're going to go into that right now, and we're going to look at some of the things here. I just want to touch on base with some things I want to say, and I've been saying this in videos for a while, and I've been saying this now for quite a few decades myself. And the threat has grown to a point of extreme, mainly with the Democrats. The Democrats know exactly what they're doing and what their agenda is in destroying this nation and positioning us for the fall we're in. They are actually positioning the American people, and the American people, out of ignorance, are playing right into it, And I'm going to just go through some examples here so you pay attention to what I'm saying, and I'm going to show you the truth of fact of actual treason happening. I'm going to show you the evidence of fact and where this current government, through the Democratic Party, complicit by the silence of the Republican Party, doing nothing to stop it, is literally trying to indoctrinate the American people, our posterity, to position us for a future takeover by that of foreign interests within what we all know to be the world alliance of that corrupt foreign totalitarian regimes around us. Let's just take a listen right here. I just want to entertain me. Entertain me here.
In this landmark bill, the House is taking another vitally important step in our determination to protect our democracy.
Did you hear what he said? This right here is known as the House Democrats announced the Protecting Our Democracy Act. Now, I got a serious problem with that. And I know a lot of Americans right now probably think, well, what is the problem? The problem is America's not a democracy. We're a republic. And there's a big difference between a democracy and a republic. And I've been saying this now for a long time. And I know, a lot of people, I get private messages, I get messages from people, they go, Jim, you're just No, I know what I'm saying, and I know what our founders meant, and we're going to go over that. So it's no longer going to be on my opinion, it's going to be on the facts of what our own founders say, and what the evidence of fact within our own history says, to understand that I'm telling you the truth. We are not a democracy, we are a republic. And what they are trying to do is position us to be a democracy, and accepting of being a democracy so that they can overrule our republic. Understand, people, of which, as I progress with the history videos, you're going to understand the Democrats have been a long-standing enemies within. They are not a part of America. They were never a part of America. They totally were against the Constitution and the forming of a federalized central government. They have been the enemies within. They were the cause of the first civil war in this nation in 1861 in their attempt to overthrow the United States of America. And since we have won the Civil War of 1861, they have been nothing but the enemies within, waging terrorist attack after terrorist attack, decade after decade, generation after generation, trying to dismantle and destroy our nation. And they're still at it very clearly today. And now they're using political correctness. They're infiltrated within in our own government. They have allies of that of foreign totalitarian regimes assisting them in our own nation. And I'm going to prove it to you. Just entertain me. Let's listen one more time to what he says here, because understand, this is in reference to the House Democrats announces the protecting of our democracy. This is things people have been paying attention to.
To be joined today by the Speaker and my fellow chairs to announce the introduction of the Protecting Our Democracy Act. In introducing this landmark bill, the House is taking another vitally important step in our determination to protect our democracy. Since taking office, Donald Trump has viewed the constraints on his power.
Okay, so you see, he's repetitive in our democracy, our democracy, our democracy. Understand, we are not a democracy, we're a republic. And we're going to get to proving that in a minute. But we're going to look at something else right here. I want to pay attention to this right here to show you how the media is complicit in this, and how the government is complicit in this, and how it is self-evident what's going on. Understand, just pay attention to this. Entertain me here.
Its executives declined to talk with us on camera for this report.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
This weekend, the online site Deadspin created this compilation of dozens of Sinclair's local newscasters recording an identical promo accusing the national media of spreading fake news.
And agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 The video spread quickly on social.
Now, as you can see here, this is actually a news compilation on the story of how the fake news is all reading the same script across the country, and they're relaying the same message out. Now, I'm sure you paid attention to what they were saying here, and this is what I mean by the ignorance of this nation and the people in this nation. Because these talking heads are complicit with it because they're educated idiots. People want to think that these people are some kind of intelligent people on the screen that have gone to college and they get their paper brain from the Wizard of College and they're really intelligent and they know what they're talking about. And I know on the left, most of the left voting base will say, well, you can't question them, they're experts. These are the people, what do you think, they don't know what they're talking? I hear it all the time. But yeah, I'm telling you right now, these people are complicit script readers, and it's being proven right here. These are educated idiots. They have no idea what they're saying, nor do they have any idea how they're being complicit in actually indoctrinating that of the American posterity into believing their nation is something it's not. We are not a democracy. We are a republic. And this is very important we get this right. But here, let's listen to this again, so in case anybody missed it in the last run.
News.
And agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 The video spread
So as you can see, right, you get the gist of what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure of it, right?
quickly on social media, again stirring criticism.
So now I want to look here. Democracy or republic? Okay, this comes from our founding times in debates with that of our founding fathers. And I'm going to read this right here. Despite clear historical evidence showing that the United States was established as a republic and not a democracy, there is still confusion regarding the difference between these two very different systems of government. Some confusion stems because the word democracy is used to describe both a type and a form of government. As a type of government, it means that generally free elections are held periodically, which America has. But as a form of government, it means rule by the majority, which America does not have. You understand the importance there? I've gone over this in other videos before. So now I'm reading somebody else's complete article in evaluation from that of our founding fathers. Okay, this is of the founding fathers quotes taken out of the explanations of that of like John Adams, James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, our founding fathers, and we're going to go into detail so we understand exactly the difference and where our founding fathers make it clear we are not a democracy. We never had the intent to be a democracy. These people are lying to us, and they're projecting out a false claim to that of our American posterity and trying to indoctrinate them to be accepting of the thing we are not a democracy. But here, let's go on to see this. In modern use, it differs from a democracy or a democratic state in which the people exercise the power of sovereignty in person. In a democratic form of government, the populace votes on all matters that affect them and do not elect others to represent their interests. Therefore, a majority rules direct democracy gives unlimited power to the majority with no protection of the individual. God-given inalienable rights are the rights of minority groups. In contrast, in a republic, the powers of the majority is limited by a written constitution, which safeguards the God-given inalienable rights of minority and groups and individuals alike. Now, this is something very important that many of the black minorities and any minority of immigrants or any minority in this nation should respect and understand. If you're in a Democratic Party, and I've said this before in so many videos, I've been saying it now for decades, how ridiculous is it that you're a minority, right? One, you're in a Democratic Party. The founders of the Democratic parties were the founders of the Confederate slave states. They started the Civil War of 1861, fighting for slave owners' rights and to protect the right to own slaves. Yet, a minority of the majority of black Democrats, black Americans are Democrats in the freaking Democratic Party of the slave party. Unbelievable, right? The most racist, divisive party in this nation, they're a member of. Why? Well, we'll get to that as we get to the future of the history videos, but I just don't get it. Now, number one, why would any minority, because you see it right here, I'm explaining it to you right here. This is somebody else's opinion of that of a compilation of Democracy versus Republic on the Founding Fathers quotes. This was done by professors of history and analyzers of the Constitution and what have you. And down below, it gives the examples from that of our very founding fathers. So be patient and stick with me, because we got to get this right. Okay, you're a minority and you're in the Democratic Party, which is a majority rule party. So understand, as a minority, no matter how much you wonder why the ghettos are staying ghettos, you wonder why like Baltimore is falling apart, you wonder why Chicago gets no better, and that the shootings continue. Because you know what? No matter how much you cry out, you're under Democratic administration. You have elected Democrats to control and govern for you, and they only care about majority issues, not minority issues. They're a democracy. They're a democratic democracy. They don't care about minority. Minority issues are put at last at the pile. So understand, no matter how much you cry, nothing's going to get better. Nothing's going to get fixed. And as you can see by this, it is the Republican form of government as a constitutional republic that protects the individual and the minority. You see, and the reason that your communities are the way they are is not the Republicans' fault. It's your own ignorant fault because you vote in the Democrats. And the Democrats who do this to you. The Democrats have been trying to destroy this nation for the last 160 years. And right now, they're very near doing it. It's disgraceful what we see going on in this country right now. But we're going to look here and just read a little bit further. Here we are. The power of majority is limited by written constitution which safeguards the God-given inalienable rights of minority groups and individuals alike. It is historically relevant to note that since the birth of our nation in 1776, no American president referred to America as a democracy until Woodrow Wilson misapplied the term during World War I. Sadly, today it has become common to use the term democracy in describing our form of government, including in recent years by both President George Bush and Barack Obama. And as well, no joke, I've even heard Donald Trump say it, because that's how commonplace it has become in the indoctrination of it. But it's not true. We are not. And what he says is true. Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, who, if you read up on Woodrow Wilson and understand the horrors that man inflicted on this nation from 1915 forward to 1921, holy cow, it's just disgraceful what these Democrats have done and the truth of their history in this nation. But let's go down and take a look here and see what Alexander Hamilton, in a sense, was not somebody I would consider of moral values to that of the republic of what we wanted in this nation. But he was somebody honest to the point of understanding the difference between democracy and a republic. Let's listen to what he said. Asserted that we are now forming a republican form of government. Real liberty is not found in the extremes of democracy, but in moderate government. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot we shall soon shoot into a monarchy or some other form of dictatorship. Hamilton, in the last letter he ever wrote, warned that our real disease is democracy. So, I mean, understand. Now, I understand that you get like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, they want to say our founders were on board with this, they supported a democracy. These are the exact words of our founders in their time. Let's listen to what Thomas Jefferson said. Thomas Jefferson declared a democracy is nothing more than mob rule where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49%. You see? So it's pretty clear. John Adams said, our second president wrote, remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. Okay? James Madison said, the father of the Constitution, this is the man who's the father of the Constitution, said, he wrote in the Federalist paper number 10, which I've said in previous videos, I mentioned this for the last decade and 2 decades, I've been telling people, look in there and you'll see this, that pure democracies have ever been spectacles of turbulence and contention, have ever been incapable with personal security or the rights of property, and have in general been as short in their lives as they have been violent in their deaths. So understand, when you're reading these things, these are our founders. And understand, they make it pretty clear that we are not a democracy, we are a republic. Now, it's very important we understand these things. Go in here and in here, okay. This is something I'll include right here, is a dissertation on the canons and the federal law. But this is something I want to touch on here that was in relation to something that they say about treason and tyranny in our nation. And when you read this, it was by John Adams. When you read this and you read the other things in reference to it, you'll start to understand, and give me a chance to just pay attention to me, people. It's very important that we understand these things. When you understand that our founders gave us signs and warning signs to know when our government has overstepped and gone too far. When we find a collage of all branches of government working in support of each other as the momentum of an agenda, where they're no longer separately or impartial, we know tyranny is taking place. When we find that the legislative, the judicial, and the justice system and the executive all together are protecting each other in a mutual goal moving forward and blocking that of anyone's attempt to try and expose a corrupt situation, you understand we're under tyranny. We're under acts of treason taking place. And when we see things as like what we're seeing right now is where it's happening. Now, the Supreme Court some 10 years ago lost all integrity in this nation. It really bombed out. It really showed that there was no integrity. And the current Supreme Court right now is under threat by that of foreign totalitarian enemies of our nation who have been threatening them and their families. These people are complicit with the corruption and the treason, and they're not taking a position, as you can see. They're just going to deny and stay away from it so that they don't have to live in fear of what would happen to them by our known and declared enemies who are threatening them and their families. They're cowards. They're worthless, disgraceful, no good cowards, undeserving of the freedom and liberty of this nation. They're treasonous goddamn cowards. Even right now, those on the Supreme Court, all are treasonous goddamn cowards. And I'm telling you right now, they're putting all of our lives and everybody at risk because they're freaking cowards. And all the Republicans are cowards as they sit silent. The silent majority is not silent anymore because it's a majority too busy to speak. It's silent because it's coward. All I hear from right now, the majority of so-called Republicans, which are not true Republicans, if you want to know what a true Republican is, you can look up Barr, okay? Look up Barr, who was Thomas Jefferson vice president. Look up Marcellus Catch's Clay, the politician. You'll get an example of what a true Republican, a true American Republican is, somebody who will defend their country, their freedom, their liberty, for that of not only just securing it for themselves and their family and who they love, but as well for the posterity and the future of this nation, as it's been done now for 244 years. That you'll find out, because right now we got nothing but cowards. Cowards! And that's because we've done nothing but now elected and appointed that of nothing but paper-brained goddamn idiots to govern for us in this nation. And foreign interests of that of our known and declared enemies have been able to come in here and manipulate their way in here and tie these people up with complicit corruption and where they're all involved and they got something on everybody and they got control of them all. And these people right now are just trying to protect each other's back in a complicit drive forward to hide and conceal the treason and the corruption that they have been involved in now for decades, and it's disgraceful. And I'm telling you right now, when you look at what happened on January 6th, you know what? And I look at what Donald Trump has said about this, and what Donald Trump's last action was, and how he handed this nation over to the very criminal establishment that is behind what we're facing right now. I'm just perplexed to why he would do that. I supported Donald Trump for 5 years straight, religiously. I mean, I did. I've rallied for this man. My children were rallying for this man. We did everything we could. I can't understand why, in the end, Donald Trump will walk away and hand us over to the very criminal establishment. But then looking at it and realizing how corrupt it is and how far widespread, like I said, the corruption stems from the executive level all the way down to the state levels with the governors, down to the county levels with the county commissions, down to the local city with the mayors. We see it right now in abundance. We're experiencing it right here in Florida right now. You got a tyrannical, treasonous goddamn mayor down here in Tampa trying to enact and take away the right of business owners, suspend their licenses to their business because they won't comply with her recommendations of what she wants to do with COVID-19. She's threatening to deprive them of their right of pursuit of happiness because of all these ridiculous licensing rules and regulations by the government, where we as ignorant people have allowed these people to hijack our ability to work as free men and women. And this is, everybody knows this. You think back, how many people remember back in 2000, 2005 with the issues going on with the business licenses? How many of you tradesmen who work with your hands got put out of business in your sheetrock business, your painting business, this and that, with them taking control through the Department of Professional Regulations right here in Florida and across this country by the Federal Supreme Court, who went ahead and ruled that the occupational license is unconstitutional, leaving everybody on license, which led to your insurance. You all remember. How many of you? I remember dozens of my friends who worked back then, who were contractors, losing their goddamn homes, their families falling apart, them getting divorces over this shit going on, everything in their life falling apart because their business was stripped away from them by tyrannical, goddamn, evil, no good, disgusting traitors of this nation, who are the same complicit people right now involved with it across this nation in all these Department of Professional Regulations and Licensing. And when you see what's happening right now in Tampa, what's going on right now in relation to that of the COVID situation, with them threatening businesses in New Jersey to take and shut down their business, suspend their business, this is all about government control. I remember when I was a kid and they started coming up with this licensing stuff, okay, about these things. In the beginning, you know what? Most of the contractors and stuff in Jersey when I was a kid, and I remember my uncle talking about these things, they said that, you know, experience, wisdom, and experience and reputation is what sustains you. I remember my uncle saying there was no need for a business license because a business self-regulates. Business self-regulates. If you're good at business, you stay in business by your reputation. If you're a criminal or a crook or somebody who's not good, your reputation will as well destroy you and put you out of business. It self-regulates. And I remember they were all against the government idea of these licenses and stuff like that they wanted. But the government kept saying, oh, it's only for the purpose so we can keep track of how many people are in business for vital statistic reasons, and also so we understand what businesses may need assistance and help, and you know, help. They made it seem like they were an ally, but it was never an ally. It was all about them wanting to extort those businesses of money and funds. And those businesses, by paying the license, have created the very now departments of what extort them further and now are acting as dictatorial dictators to control them and take away a free man's right to his trade and his labor and his work to provide for himself in his pursuit of happiness in life. These people are infringing on our rights left and goddamn right, and it's getting disgusting. And it's way beyond anything we should be tolerating in this nation. And it's gone all the way up, like I say, through all departments. And I know, I'm saying how many people remember? How many tradesmen out there? How many of us, the American man? I remember. I know I remember. I'm a state contractor, and I'm telling you right now, I'm not proud to be a state licensed contractor or a state certified contractor, because it's a goddamn disgusting, no good, worthless intrusion upon that of the right of pursuit of happiness. A man's license to do what he does is his ability to do it, not a goddamn piece of paper handed out by like, thy king, can I ask you for permission to do my job? Because that's what this comes down to. And we as the American people have become so ignorant to understanding the abuse of power and consent of authority of this government that we have put ourselves now into a situation of slavery. We're all going to be slaves again if we keep allowing this and we don't wake up and stop this now. And I'm talking to the tens and the thousands, the hundreds of thousands of men, millions of men across this country who remember from 2010 to current time right now, how you have been pitted right now. You lost your business, your home, your family destroyed because of these goddamn ignorant, no good people and what they're doing in their treason and tyrannical acts across this country and in every goddamn state. This government is out of control. Let's go forward and take a look at some of the reality we need to wake up to. We heard here from this guy here talking about the thing with us being a democracy, which I hope by now, and I'm going to include links to this, people do your research and understand. America is not a democracy. We are a republic. Look up Article 4, Section 4, United States Constitution. Guarantees to every state in this union a republican form of government, not a democracy. Search. Pull up on the internet the Constitution. Here, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. We're going to find the Constitution of the United States. Real quick. I just want to do this so you understand something here, so you can see this. Maybe this will help you get it. We're going to search this document, right? We're just going to search this document. I gotta find it. Find right here, okay? And we're going to search this document for Democrat. You see that? No Democrat. It's telling you there's no Democrat, right? We're going to search it for democracy. No democracy. You see that? You can't find it. But here, what about republic? Can we find? Oh, I spelled it wrong. Right here. Right here. See it? There it is. You see it highlighted right there? Right there. It's highlighting as I'm writing it. See that? Republican. See it highlighted right there? Section 4. It's in Article 4, Section 4. The United States will guarantee to every state in the Union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislator of the executive when the legislator cannot be convened against domestic violence. You see that? Republican's the only form of government the United States consents to. The Constitution only consents to that. Now, when we look here at some of the things, I want to just we read these, okay? So here, the other thing I want to talk about that's important right here. This was a conversation with Thomas Jefferson on 23rd of March in 1790 with George Washington. I have some letters here that George Washington from Thomas Jefferson. I also have other things that we can look at here, of which I'll show. This is the actual letter from George Washington in reference to where we're going right now. And we can look at these things as well from Thomas Jefferson. If you want to see what those letters say that were, in cursive, you can't read cursive, I got it here in print so you can see it in print and highlighted, okay? And what we're looking at in relation to these things and where we're going is right here. This government has been acting in treason for the last 2 decades, in extreme treason. In America right now, this government, mostly the majority of the Democratic Party, but I got to tell you right now too, the Republicans are complicit in it because they're aware of this facts too. They should be. And some of them can't be held accountable because I'll tell you what, Trey Gowdy, since the beginning of this, has done all he can to try and bring awareness to this. And as a small little voice of a minority, the man has been stomped out because I've been hearing him crying out for the truth to be known about this since the 2000s, okay? But we have been being attacked by Islamic Muslims. These people have been the declared enemies of the United States since the founding of this nation. Within the administration of George Washington, the Muslims were declared the enemies of all mankind by George Washington. John Adams declared them the enemies of America and the American people. Thomas Jefferson declared them the enemies of America and the American people. Matter of fact, it was Thomas Jefferson who led the first war in 1801 against the Barbary totalitarian Islamic Muslims, and it was James Madison who led the second war against them in 1915. Okay, and then mind you, World War I was with the Islamic Muslim Ottoman Empire. Okay, so understand it doesn't end. And then also to remember, in World War II, the Islamic Muslims were allied to Adolf Hitler. They were part of the Nazi Party. They're the ones who financed the majority of the war of Adolf Hitler for the pursuit of world domination. And don't forget too, even in the Vietnam War, they were what was known as the Shem Muslims who instigated the communist movement that divided Vietnam and caused the Vietnam War. And then we know about Iraq, right? The first Iraq war with America. Then we had the 9/11 attacks with Iraq, with ISIS and all these different names they give them, all the way up to the current events of what we know. But here's the problem I have, people. Like right here in America, you have what's known as this. Listen to this. I'm going to show you. From 9/11, do you know, since 2000, in America, now rising up near. Over 5,000 Americans have been killed by Islamic Muslims right here on our own home ground. This is the biggest number of Americans ever killed on our own home ground by a known declared foreign enemy of ours who are in our own nation killing Americans on our own home ground and have been telling us for the last 244 years that was their intent, and I'm going to prove that to you. But let's listen to this lady.
The 10-year-old suspect had been fired from a food processing plant, and workers said he had recently tried to convert them to Islam.
911, where's your emergency?
Don Foods, Moore, Oklahoma, 216 Northeast 12th Street.
What's going on there?
We have someone attacking someone in the building.
Panic and horror at a food processing plant in Moore, Oklahoma. Police say a man had just been fired. The reason...
Now, this was in 2014. A Muslim was fired from the job site at this factory. He went back and killed two people, one lady, 54 years old. He literally cut her head off because this is Islamic culture. This is the way they do things. And they have a sworn allegiance that they have to come here and kill Americans because we're Christians. Christians are their known and declared enemies. The United States has been their declared enemy. They have declared war and us as their enemy since the founding of this nation back in the time of George Washington. And you know, in our ignorance is no excuse with this government. They know this. They have to know this. But it's at a greed. You see, these foreign Islamic states all have oil. And the billions of dollars they have, they've been funneling in like to the Clinton Foundation, to the Bush with their oil, Dick Cheney. If you look at Cheney back with like boots and coats, the Iraqi war, the money they made off of that boots and coats company, that little penny stock thing that they ran up and to like $30, $40, all the Bushes owned the stock in it. They were dropping that stock in the public for $20, $25 a share. Within a matter of a week later, it was back down under pennies a share. These people have been complicit in the corruption and the theft and robbing the American people now for decades, people, because that what I'm talking about is back in the 90s and the early 2000s. It's been going on now, and I'm telling you, we got to wake up to the reality of what's taking place here, because this right here is something that was put off as workplace violence, but in truth, this has taken place in many places. In Isla, New Jersey, there was several Americans were decapitated and literally disemboweled, like hands, feet, everything cut off and spread around, trying to hide the bodies on them by these Muslims. We know from 9/11 alone was near 3,000 people killed within the Twin Towers. Orlando nightclub shooting right here. 50 people killed in Orlando, Florida by the Islamic Muslims. You had the Christmas party shooting go on with the Islamic Muslims. Now, I want you to listen to the complicitness to show you the corruption and the treason and why these people are doing what they're doing and why they're so complicit in doing what they're doing, because they're afraid of the truth. You see, they're catch-22. They've been committing treason and aiding and assisting the known and declared enemies of the United States, of which I'm telling you right now, when we go here and you look, this was by George Washington himself, and he's speaking of that of the Islamic Muslims. He says, would to the heavens we had a navy able to reform those enemies to mankind, or crush them into non-existence. This is what George Washington, our first president, had to say about Islamic Muslims. Now, I want you to listen to what Hillary Clinton's got to say real quick, and you'll understand how she's been aiding, assisting the enemies, known and long-established declared enemies, who have sworn that they're going to kill the people of this country, destroy this nation, since it's been founded.
Islam is not our adversary. Muslims are peaceful and tolerant people and have nothing whatsoever to do with terrorism.
That is a freaking lie. Since this country has been founded, these people have been long established and known declared enemies of the United States and the American people on many principles. One, because we're a Christian Judeo-founded nation. And the two majority enemies, sworn enemies of the Islamic Muslims, are Christians and Jewish people. And we are a Christian Judeo-founded nation. We are double the enemy to these people, and that has been declared by them. And that's not just my opinion, that is a fact. Understand right here. This is from Thomas Jefferson's own words written to George Washington himself. He says in his study of now becoming awake and aware of what Islam and these Muslims are about. It's in 1786, Jefferson and Adams met in London with the ambassador from Tripoli asking why the U.S. was being targeted since it had never harmed Muslims. The ambassador answered us, Jefferson wrote, that it was written in their Quran that all nations who should not have acknowledged their authority were sinners, that it was their right and duty to make war upon them wherever they could be found and to make slaves of all they could take as prisoners. So understand, this is our founding time. We've known this since our founding time. This is during the time with Jefferson and Madison. Okay, this was when Madison won the election, and then the following Jefferson won. So we had George Washington, John Adams, James Madison, and Thomas Jefferson as presidents. The first four administrations acknowledged the fact that the totalitarian Islamic Muslims were the enemies to mankind and as well the enemies of America, and that they have sworn and declared war on us as being a nation of sinners because we will not acknowledge their authority. In the beginning times, the first two wars we had with them, one in 1801, one again in 1815. We would face them again in the early 1900s in World War I as the Muslim Ottoman Empire because of their pursuit. That's their goal. They're a foreign totalitarian regime, and their pursuit and their goal is world domination and control by terrorism and war to force convert everyone into Islamic Muslims, servants to that of the Islamic leaders, as slaves, the public slaves. That's what they want. And all who refuse, as they say here, they have a right to kill them, wage war on them, and force them to. And if they don't, they kill you. That's as simple as it goes. Now, as we move forward here, I want you to pay attention to what Hillary Clinton says here.
Say just a couple of things. First, we've had Muslims in America since George Washington, and we've had many successful.
This woman is a liar. This woman is a liar. She's a total liar. There was no Muslims here in George Washington's time. I just showed you what George Washington himself thought about the Islamic Muslims. This right here is from George Washington, letter to Marquis de Lafayette, August 15, 1786, and what he says in reference to the Islamic Muslims. He considered them the enemies to mankind. This woman is either an ignorant fool or a complicit ally to the enemies of this nation, aiding and assisting them. And you know what? That's what it was. She was aiding and assisting, as well as all of them are aiding and assisting them to this day. And the aiding and assistance stems from that of the federal level where she's at with Barack Obama at this time, all the way down to the state level where the governors were taking massive contributions from Saudi Arabia, Iran, and these foreign totalitarian Islamic nations, millions and billions of dollars flowing into their bank accounts so that they would let them establish mosques within our states, within our counties, indoctrinate that of our children in our school systems through the Department of Education with Islam and that of the foreign totalitarian ideology of this occult. And as well, and that's what it was about. Hillary Clinton's foundation has taken hundreds of millions of dollars from the totalitarian Islamic Muslims. They have bought and paid for this woman. They got her in our pocket, and she does everything she can within her power to defend a known and declared enemy. Now, do you understand when you consider that since this woman has done this, she's gone on national news. She has defended them on national news, knowing these are foreign totalitarian enemies of the United States, long established and declared by the first four administrations of our nation, and then again further declared by that of the Republican establishments heading into the 1900s when we hit World War I. Again in World War II as well, they were known and declared enemies of the United States. This is ridiculous that these people, out of their complicit ignorance, are straight up treason, are putting the American people, our nation, and that of our American posterity at threat. And that's what they've been doing now for decades. This is a fact, an undeniable fact. Listen to this woman.
Muslims. We just lost a particularly well-known one with Muhammad Ali.
This woman right here protects these people who are known and long established. They're responsible for killing over 5,000 Americans in our nation right now. When you look through this here, too, she says Muslims are not the enemies. Let me tell you, I know Islam, and I've been studying world culture and religions all my life, and I'll tell you what, I know Islam very well. Okay? The Islamic Muslims, they're a totalitarian regime that establishes a religion of that like the Egyptians did or that like China did with the emperors. They create like a demigod situation and where the people are forced to worship this thing, and then they self-proclaim themselves the authority of God. Okay? This is something that was common practice back in those times, like with the pharaohs who were demigods, or the emperors of China who were demigods, and how they used religions. And they even tried this with the kings. The kings of Great Britain and European nations did this as well with Christianity, trying to say they were ordained by Jesus to be the king. And in our nation, we did away with all that in the founding of the United States of America. We wanted nothing to do with any of that. But, the current time of what we're looking at, like here, I want to go to here. This was a letter I'll include here is about reference to the respect of our captives in Algiers, in which after detailing their situation and measures had taken for their relief and the train in which the business was in the means by the means of who is at the head of the Religious Free Society of France, whose practice it is to solicit aid for the relief of unfortunate Christians in captivity among the barbarians, right? So understand, because Christians were their enemies. These are letters back right here. This is Thomas Jefferson back in 1790, okay, talking about when these people were capturing Americans and enslaving them and threatening to kill them unless we paid them the jizya tax. Okay, which Obama, you want to know all that money Obama sent over to this? It was a payback for all the jizya tax because he's a goddamn Muslim himself. He just sent them billions of dollars over and nobody said nothing about it, right? Nobody's doing nothing about it. Let me tell you something, people. This is the problem in America. We see, let me tell you right now, America, in all truth, right now, we're a banana republic, okay? And I'm going to tell you what, Donald Trump, if you get to see this video, I don't understand why you did what you did. I'm kind of wondering if maybe it was the walk away to live to fight another day kind of situation. I'm not sure. But I know this much. When Donald Trump walked away, he handed this nation over to that of this criminal establishment that has been now for 2 decades aiding and assisting the enemies of this nation in killing and infiltrating America. These people of this foreign totalitarian Islamic Muslims are infiltrated within that of all levels of our government right now. We have 4 of them sitting in our own Congress. They're as well right now spread out through the states within county commissions, school boards across our nation, and they're indoctrinating our children. And anyone who tries to deny this is blind to reality and don't want to face it. You know, I can't believe what's going on with the treason and the upset. And right now, you look at what the Democrats have done to Washington, D.C. This is unprecedented in the American history of our nation. That our capital is literally fortified, protecting that. You know, Donald Trump says that violence is not the answer. Donald Trump says that, an uprising by the American people. Let me tell you something to the military right now. And all the police in this country, all the chiefs of city corporate police, state police, and that of the sheriffs. You listen up and you pay real close attention because I'm going to tell you something right now. You are protecting people who have for over 20 years now working with, aiding, and assisting that of known and declared enemies of the United States, who have resulted in that of over 5,000 Americans being killed that we know of right here on American home ground. Right now, these people are complicit with corruption to unmeasurable. And you know what the sad part is? I'm trying to reach that of the officer, the everyday officer. But you know what? They got you pen just like they got the business people pen. What you see what them doing right now in Tampa with pulling people's business licenses. What we all know. Remember all the trades guys, sheetrock guys, roofer guys, painter guys, window door guys, gutter guys. You remember when your license got pulled back in 2000 and you had no insurance, you were being forced out of business? How many tens of thousands of families fell apart that wound up in divorce? They lost their homes. It was disgraceful what happened from this government's intrusion upon that of a free man's right to his pursuit of happiness. And it's disgraceful what we see right now, the level of where it's going through right now. And then it's coming to light now what it was all about. So that they can use these license and these permitting obligations and all this stuff that they do with their tyrannical friggin' infringement upon our right to pursuit of happiness, our right of contracting, which is not supposed to be infringed or any way by the government, but yet they're doing it. And they've been doing it. And we also see with their complicity now in trying to strip us of our Second Amendment and making now what they're doing, instead of attacking the gun laws, they're attacking the gun manufacturers and the ammunition manufacturers by taxing them to craziness, insane craziness right now to what we see going on. And let me tell you, there's only one reason a government wants to disarm its people, because they're about to do something that they know the people would shoot them for. That's exactly, wake up and realize this is coming. And I'll tell you what, the black America, you better wake up real quick, because I'm going to tell you what, you don't realize this, but in a totalitarian Islamic state, slavery is still legal. And right now, the majority of the slaves that they trade in are still African black slaves. You're not looking too good in the future if things don't go right here. I can assure your ignorant asses better wake up real quick. You talk about black history? You want to wake up to black history? You better start looking into the truth and stop following this propaganda bullshit that's going on that these Democrats are pitching you. Because in the truth, you're on a chopping block to go right back to where your ancestors were, into slavery. Believe that. It's coming. You ignorant fools don't even realize to take the time to understand the truth of what I'm trying to say. And it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. You better wake up real quick, because it's coming. What's going on right now, we got to stop. And I'm telling you right now, we are a banana republic right now. Our nation is on the teetering line of falling, and nobody's doing a goddamn thing about it. Donald Trump hasn't come out and said a word. He's been silent. I don't know why the man did what he did, but I'm going to tell you what, we're in a worse situation than we were when we elected Donald Trump. When we elected Donald Trump, it is self-evident and clear, and hear me out, people, we had still been a republic because we still had the ability to get that man elected. When he left office, we were no longer a republic. So I understand a lot. He did a lot of great things, so it appeared. And he did incredible things. When I look at what he did with the North Korea and the friendship and the alliance and he got the nuclear situation. He made the world a safer place. The alliances and the agreements he made with India were great. And you know what the sad part is, Donald Trump, and I hope you hear this. People in China were putting their life on the line themselves, rising up, hoping for liberation by you. They were singing the national anthem of the United States into China. They were marching and parading in the street, knowing that that communist government would shoot them down with guns. But you know what? You inspired them. You inspired millions and millions of Chinese people to have hope and faith that the beacon of light for liberty and freedom in the world of America would sustain. The people in Iran, do you understand that the people in Iran are my age? And I remember being a shoeshine kid in New York where you grew up. And I remember 1978 when Iran was overthrown by the Muslims. I remember the Iranian community then. They were our allies. They were mini America. They were so proud and they loved America and they loved American people. They would come in, I can remember them kiss the ground that those people loved America. And they were called mini America, that Constitution never verbatim to ours. And we had an obligation that was made to them under Ford and Nixon that we were supposed to protect them as allies of ours. But Jimmy Carter, the Democrat, did nothing. Jimmy Carter, as a matter of fact, the Democrats aided and assisted the Muslims to ensure that they'd be able to overthrow Iran. It was disgraceful what took place. But yet, understand, that was in 1978. There are people in Iran my age who, when they were younger, and in the time I'm talking about, remember being free. And they've been slaves now over there for the last 35, 40 years. They've been slaves since the Muslims have overthrown it, and they remember freedom. There's many people in Iran right now, 55, 60, 65, that when they grew up, they were free men, like Americans. And then they were taken over by the totalitarian Islamic Muslims, and now they're slaves. And they remember the freedom. And Donald Trump, you inspired those people. They took up and marched against their own Iranian leaders and of the Islamic State, putting their life at risk, because over there they'll kill them for that. And many of them did. They got killed. They got publicly hung and beheaded, and their hands cut off and their feet cut off, and left to die in the streets and be eaten alive by dogs. You understand the inhumanities that go on in these foreign countries. This is what happened to those people who took those actions, believing in you, that you would liberate them, that you would be the beacon of light in America that would give again the light of the torch to this world for liberation. And the American people believed in you too, Donald Trump. The American people, I believed in you. And millions of us. And when we believed that you would do the right thing, and that we knew Mike Pence wouldn't, I warned you the night of that you picked that man on Facebook. I was up to 1 in the freaking morning, and I emailed you and everything, trying to warn you about that man. And I told you he's a freaking rhino. I remember when he was running for governor up in Indiana and stuff, there was kids came out. I remember an article, they buried that shit, that he was a Klan member in Indiana. He was a true Democrat, believe me. He was a rhino. He's been a rhino his whole goddamn life. And you should have known that man was going to traitor on you. And I guess in the end you realize everybody's traitored on you. Because everybody's a goddamn traitor in this government. Everybody, one way or the other, that's been long-standing in this government for 10 years or longer is somewhere complicit in the goddamn corruption that's going on. And they got something on everybody. And where they don't have something with monetary corruption, they got something with perversions, because these sick friggin' Democrats is as clear and unquestionable for the majority of a bunch of pedophile, no goddamn perverted, sick people who take advantage of the young posterity. And it's just disgraceful what we're allowing in this country. It's disgraceful. And somebody's got to say it. It's got to come to a goddamn head. And we, the American people, understand, have a right. It's our right. It's our duty to make sure that we preserve our republic and the integrity of that of our God-given rights and that of the moral value principles of what we founded this nation upon. That of the Christian faith, of the order of that of proper moral values with humanity by what we were taught by Jesus Christ. That's who we are as a people, moral people. Not perverted, sick, disgusting, evil people who do what these people are doing right now and condoning to be normal. Somebody has to speak up and say something. I'm one voice. But you know what? And all of you goddamn cowards who sit home and just be quiet. Look, you need to at least be a voice to back those who got the balls to stand up. Your children, your grandchildren will suffer greatly. You will be an old person who will witness them being beheaded in the streets of America. And if you don't back the people right now standing up to take a stand against the corruption and the tyranny that's going on in this country right now, you will be the one who will have to face the reality of God one day and knowing, and your own grandchildren for knowing, you're the goddamn cause that happens to them. You'll be the cause out of your own stupidity and ignorance. Because you don't want to believe the truth. You just want to believe and hear the truth that they tell you. How these people have manipulated. Let me tell you, I look at the disgustingness, and I'll tell you, I've endured it with that of even my own family. And members of with these things, how they affected families, and they tear families apart. It's disgraceful. With all the homosexuality, and now the binary beings, and all that stupidity and idiocy of what the Supreme Court and the courts themselves are complicit with. What's is clear and evident, these people are sick, perverted scumbags themselves. Just disgusting what we see going on in this country right now. Unprecedented in the history. And humanity itself is in shock. This is a shock to the world because America is supposed to be the beacon light of true morals and values. We as a people. This government is making us, the American people, look like goddamn fools to the world. And I understand the majority of the people are just complicit idiots. They don't care. But I'm asking, where's that minority of us? Where's that who are the 3% that made this nation possible? Do you realize right now, what would it be? We have what, 35 million people right now? And I think that's what we got, 350 million people in America. So if we were to say that, even if we just had that by the 3%, 10.5 million people? Really? We don't have 10.5 million people agree with me and understand what the hell I'm saying? And I'll tell you what, if we got 10.5 million people, we outnumber all of the whole entire establishment of this government 10 to 1. Because they only got 1.2 million. That's it. 1.2 million is what makes up the entire police department, sheriff's department, and military across this nation. And that's assuming that if all of them were to become tyrannical and like the Nazis follow the orders of this tyrannical, treasonous goddamn government, should we the people decide to go stand up and defend our republic and secure our Constitution as it was founded. They got 1.2 million. We got 10.5 million. And I know it's more than that for a fact. I got news for you right now. Just between 33 states across this country, the militias make up right now 14.2 million. So we got more than that. That's only in 33 states I'm sure of and I know of that have a militia base of that of 14.2 million. But when are we going to do something? I understand it's going to take time. I understand people don't. I'm not asking for nothing tomorrow. We are planning. It's coming. But I'm trying to wake up the American people to understand the truth. You got to understand what's coming and why it's coming. And these people who are in government right now, what they're doing is a last-ditch effort. Because look they have no choice. Because if they don't do what they're going to do, the enemies are going to expose them. The people who have the corruption on them and have them for the perversions like the Muslims in China, the things they got. We've seen what happened with Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, the perversion with him going on with the kids over in China, the videos that came out and how they're hiding it right now. It's disgraceful. Totally inhumane, disgraceful. Disgraceful. Pedophiles. This guy was over there, he's raping freaking children in China, Joe Biden's son. Got video evidence of it. I got video of it. I can't show it because I'll get suspended off of freaking YouTube or whatever. And that's disgraceful. See, you can't show the facts. And the complicitness right now, I warn you of the social media. Trust me, it's not over. It's not over. The American people are in their own mind, in their own right, by that of what is declared their authority and power, working on their move. And when it comes down to it, you would be wise, Mark Zuckerberg, and you with the YouTube channel, and you with the Twitter, you would all be wise right now to respect that of the American Constitution and the right of the free people to speak their minds and stop with your insanity. You're afraid of the threats being made against you right now by that of the totalitarian Islamic Muslims and this government and its complicitness with these traitors. They're traitors to this country, and they've been aiding and assisting and allied in that of our enemies now for 2 decades, at the expense of now over 5,000 Americans killed right here on our own home ground. When the shit hits the fan, Mark Zuckerberg, you at the head of YouTube, you at the head of Twitter, you at the head right now of all these different social media groups, I'm going to tell you right now, when it all comes down to it, and the American people take their place, and we're restructuring right now to ensure the integrity of our nation forward, to make sure our republic is sound and our Constitution is safe. Those who will be held accountable will be those who today were aiding and assisting and complicit in it. You would be wise right now to stop aiding, assisting, and being complicit in this treason and corruption. Because I'm telling you right now, There is no protection for you in this country. If you think these Democrats and you think this corrupt government's going to save you, you're wrong. You're wrong. Because I got news for you right now. It's already been vetted and known. Close to 92% of the military, guaranteed sure with the people. 90% of that National Guard, guaranteed sure with the people. And so now you eliminate that part, they're down to like 400,000 in numbers of potential, what they would declare their army. And out of that 400,000, I'll tell you right now, 74% of the sheriffs are with the people. We have a tyrannical base that does exist among corporate police that we know are going to be like Gestapo Nazis. But you know what? The number comparison of what they're going to have to face, they're cowards. Such people are cowards. They'll realize quickly they can't win that battle, and they'll back down. We don't feel there's going to be much of a big fight coming in the future, and where many are going to be harmed. But I got news for you, Donald Trump, and I got news for everybody. This nation was not founded by conversation with people who don't have reasonable sense to talk about, or even humanity in them, to be humane. These are not humane people who have civil conversation. These are people that can only be dealt with in one way, and that's the way they've been dealing with us, the American people. The Democrats have been inciting fear right now, and Republicans, of what we've seen right now, with them sending out that of the communities they control, with the poverty-stricken ghettos they control, sending them out to go in and parade down within the higher-end neighborhoods and torment and terrorize the middle class and upper class of these neighborhoods. We've been seeing it now for the last 5 years, 6 years going on. All the way back, actually, the last 12 years with Obama. About the riots, the looting, and the whole shebang going on. Who are they affecting? Who are they scaring? The business owners. Who are they? The Republicans. Who are the retail stores and everything they're burning down? Who are these people? Business owners. Majority of them Republicans. And what are these people? Soft-skinned Republican business people. No balls behind them, no courage behind them. Bunch of goddamn cowards. But I'll tell you who's not cowards. And who's been taking the brunt of it as well. Small businessmen. Small tradesmen. Who've been being knocked down. Pushed out. You know what? They when I think back in the early 2000s, what they did to the trades, the sheetrock guys, the roofing guys, the frame trim carpentry guys, the painter guys, the landscaping guys now, they're getting everybody now. They got everybody under this licensing control and they're vying for their power and control. And you know why? Because those true entrepreneurial spirited, strong American tradesmen are the balls of this nation. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them. And I'll tell you what, I've had to comply with your idiocy of your goddamn permission by the king, thou king, can I do my own trade? I was born with my God-given ability and talents. You have no right to license me, goddammit. But I have no choice, right? I have no choice because I'm a minority with the majority of ignorant goddamn Americans who are complicit with it and go along with it like sheep. I have to comply with it, right? And deal with it. Have to, just like everybody else had to. And even then, you just keep making it worse and worse and worse because it's all about control. And now we're seeing what that control is right here in Florida. We're seeing what that control is like we've seen it in New Jersey, like we've seen it in Michigan, like we've seen it in Arizona, where the governors and the mayors are starting to use the licensing thing against businesses who refuse to comply, to take it away and put a free man out of business, infringe upon his right to his pursuit of happiness through that of their right out abuse of the consented to powers and authorities they self-proclaim, because we gave them no right. You tell me and show me where in the Constitution it gives any of you goddamn mayors the authority to have the right to infringe upon a man's pursuit of happiness and his free trade of business. You don't have that right. You're acting tyrannical and treasonous. And any cops out there trying to enforce this shit, you're another. You're like the brown coat Nazis. You're the goddamn Nazi what do they call it, friggin' Gestapo. Acting like you're acting. You're all in violation of you're all in contempt of the Constitution and your oath. Disgraceful goddamn Americans, every friggin' one of you. You're a disgraceful shame to this nation. You're disgraceful to your family's name. Every goddamn one of you. You're a disgraceful disgrace to this country for aiding and assisting in this goddamn tyrannical actions and tyranny that's going on in this nation right now with all these goddamn power-drunk goddamn idiots. It's disgraceful. Somebody's got to say something. Somebody's got to stand up and speak the truth. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So with that, I'm going to say to you people, wake up and look at the truth and wake up to it and see it right now. The reason that these Democrats got themselves fortified, because they know what they did. And they know, and I'm telling you right now, let me tell you something, you Democratic scumbags, and all you complicit goddamn rhino Republicans, let me tell you something. You coward asses. I'm not the only one. I'm only one of what I can tell you right now and assure you is 14.2 million of us across this country who remember you scumbags ripping our lives apart with your licenses, your rules, your regulations, breaking and tearing our families down. Through the 1970s with your goddamn divorces and your attorneys, sticking them on people, destroying that of family unity. With your welfare state with goddamn Lyndon B. Johnson in the 1960s, tearing apart the white and the black unity of the Republican Party and then trapping the black Americans within your goddamn Democratic-controlled city, drug-infested, criminal freaking ridden ghettos. How you destroyed this country. You have been nothing but the plague and the goddamn feces of this nation. Decay of what it is what you are. And you people, of those who are so ignorant in the Democratic Party, you're even worse. And the Republicans too, you're worse. You know what? You don't know what I'm talking about, half of you. Half of you don't know the history I'm speaking of. Half of you don't know the goddamn events I'm talking about. But you were all part of it and complicit with it. Because you know what? All you cared about was that dollar. All you cared about was that security. Because you're all a bunch of goddamn paper-brain failed idiot attorneys who couldn't make it with a firm or in your own practice. So your only option was to take up an elected position for that high-pay welfare on that elected job. Right? That's all you care about is your goddamn self-serving. Keep your elected position because your ass wouldn't qualify to scrape grease off a goddamn dumpster behind McDonald's if it wasn't for that elected position. You're a bunch of worthless, goddamn, disgraceful, self-serving losers. And you're disgraceful for the harm you caused this nation. And the millions of Americans who, just like me, have had it. We've had it. And I'm telling you right now, America, wake up. Wake up to the, you know who you are out there, the tradesmen. You know who you are. We've been speaking now for over near 2 decades across this country. And it's time. It's coming time. I understand. We have time. We have time to plan it out right, but I'm looking for the rest of the Americans need to wake up. We all need to wake up. We need to become unified. We need to face and learn and dedicate ourselves to the time of learning. Stop falling into the complicit bullshit of what these people are trying to distract us with the idiocy with this virus. Are you kidding me? With this virus. Let me tell you something. Look this up for a fact. I'll just give you it off the top of my head, try to figure out something. Do you know the flies kill more people than COVID every year? Flies. From bacteria spreading, yeah, from virus spreading and disease. Flies kill more people. Flies, think about that. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes kill more people than flies. Mosquitoes kill more people than COVID-19 and the flu combined every year. Did you know that? Did you know mosquitoes kill more people? Every friggin' year. No joke, look it up. This is all bullshit, people. And it's all distractive. It's all distractive. Joe Biden is nothing but a goddamn pedophile himself. When I was a kid shining shoes, and they knew about him. They used to say that he's a transit pedophile, riding the public transportation, the buses and stuff, preying on the heroin addicts back then. The friggin' heroin junkie women with kids. He'd go and prey on them, give them drug money so he can molest their kids. This was a word on the street where us kids were warned about him. He was known as a transit pedophile. Look at this. It's disgraceful that this man right now is leading the world's most powerful nation. Out of ignorance and cowardness of Republicans, cowardness and ignorance of Americans who are so self-serving and undeserving of the great blessings of this nation as you sit complicit in your self-serving freaking idiocy. Do you know what a disgrace you are? Understand this. My knowledge is all self-educated. For me, a kid who didn't even start to go to school until I was 13 years old, to know as much as I know about my nation, my place as an American, there's no goddamn excuse for any one of you. There's no excuse for any one of you. And you can redeem yourselves now. Start learning now because you got the world of information at your fingertips right now. Listen to the history videos I'm telling you right now. Do your research on the links I put right now. Because you know what? You should all be as angry as me. Because if you don't care about me and you don't like me, that's fine. But I want you to go look at your grandchildren. Look at your daughters and your sons right now. And understand that their future is in your hands. You might not like me, and you might not like what I got to say, and you might not like my values and my principles, but I'll tell you one damn thing you've got no choice but to like about. And that's what I'm telling you because I'm telling you the truth. You look at your children, you look at your children, and you think of your grandchildren, and you understand that what you don't do today will be what they have to face being done tomorrow. And if you don't take the time to learn the truth today, the lies you teach them will be the sins of themselves, of what they'll suffer tomorrow. You will have to live with that forever. Let me tell you one thing I know about God and life. Which most of my life is over and I got very little time left. I might have maybe, 15, 20 years left in this world, if that. Because I've worked a hard life. But I'm thinking of my kids and my grandchildren. And I want them to have freedom and liberty. I want them to have a proper and real pursuit under a true republic with freedom and true liberty by the true blessings of God. But I'm telling you right now, people, all you people who are claiming to pray, understand this. When you look back at Jacob with his son, or Abraham with his son, when God told him to sacrifice his son, understand faith requires action. God will intercede at the moment your faith is proven by your actions. Okay? And we will have victory and we will have glory when our actions are supported by the will of God with us in our defense. But if we sit like cowards and we do nothing, depending on God and saying we have faith in him and what have you, but we don't demonstrate or exercise that faith in actions, God's not able to do anything for us that we don't believe he can do. And by a lack of faith in action, we don't believe God can do anything if we ourselves are not willing to do for ourselves. By that and our own faith in God. It's our responsibility to retain this nation. It was our responsibility we were born with. And tens of millions of men took that responsibility before us in the last 244 years. We were blessed with this. I don't want to be the man of the generation who's seen America fail. And I won't be. The day my body hits the ground, I will believe there will be men like me who come after me to ensure that my grandchildren and their children and their grandchildren will live in no freedom. And that we will eventually rise up and we will liberate that of our world allies. And we will unify again. And we will persist to make America a thing of this world. And that one day this world will know peace, true liberty, true freedom. And we will remember our history. And we will discipline ourselves to that of a moral society in line with that of a true God and doing the right thing so that humanity can know peace as God intended. But with that, I'm going to leave off. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I'm going to put links to everything I showed in here. But I'm telling you right now, these people are so complicit in the corruption and treason. They are doing all they can as being told by that of the foreign interests who are controlling them, because they know either way, people, they're screwed. They're either going to get hung and killed by us for treason, or they're going to get ratted out by the other people we're going to know about the treason. They're going to get hung and shot and killed for treason. Either way, they're going to get it. Or they can hope that they hand our nation over to these foreign people because they're traitors. And they let them come in and do what they want. They're hoping to just outlive it. They're hoping to get to the end of it, where they can get out of it and hand it off to the next administration maybe. They're doing what they're told to do. And they're hoping to be able to vie for a position where they're protected with that of the people they're willing to surrender our nation to. These are like the scumbag senators of ancient Greece who were selling their people out. These are like the people, it's Black History Month. You want to talk about scumbags? Look at the blacks. Do you know there was like several 100,000 free blacks in America on their approach to the Civil War in 1860? And out of them, on average, each of them owned between 1 and 5 black slaves themselves. Sellout scumbags. Just like these people, sellout scumbags. They're self-serving. They only care about themselves. They don't give a shit about anybody. And these people are disgraceful, inhumane, worthless scumbags. They will deserve every bit of the punishment that could come upon them. I'll tell you that right now. They deserve every bit of it. And when hell comes, believe me, you people are going to pay. You people are going to pay. Because believe me, I'm not alone. And I'm going to tell you what, millions and millions and tens of millions of Americans are waking up and they understand the truth of it across this country. You may have indoctrinated and affected that of the idiocy that you got out in California. And obviously some of it you got all the way from like Connecticut down to New Jersey with the idiocy, the complicity of these brain-dead, goddamn educated idiots. But the majority of Central America and out of the true Americans, you haven't faced us. You may have bruised our ego, hurt us, held us back, deprived us of our true pursuit to happiness, but all you've done is made it worse for yourself, because we're coming for vengeance. We're coming for that of straightening out. We're coming for a reckoning in this country. And when it comes, believe me, ain't no fence going to protect your ass. Ain't no National Guard going to protect your ass, because the National Guard themselves are the victims of your own goddamn tyrannical actions and treason, and they know it. They know it. The military knows it, and we, the American people, know it. You ain't going to have nowhere to hide when the shit comes time for reckoning and justice is coming to be served. Trust me, you got nowhere to hide. Thank you all for who watched my video up to this point. I hope everybody has a God bless week. And I hope you like this video. I'll include links to this, like I say, on this with Facebook. The links don't automatically come into the video. I have to go onto YouTube and upload this. YouTube will automatically put in the description all the links to everything I use in the video. I'll reload that onto my Facebook page so that if you want to go through all these links I showed you and look at the evidence and the facts I showed you, you'll be able to go through those links and look at it and read and educate yourself on it to get a proper understanding of what I'm saying. Thank you all for watching my videos. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time I make my next video.